Hey everyone, welcome to First 11. It's an absolute pleasure to be able to introduce Fordzilla today. Thanks guys for joining me.
Thank you.
Problem.
Nice to meet you.
Very cool. I am literally the biggest car nut and I've always yearned to own a V8 Mustang and I literally have a Ford t-shirt with a Mustang on it. So when I saw that there was a Ford official esports team, I literally was like, this is very, very cool. And reached out to Philip and was delighted that you guys agreed to sort of join me on chilling with. So thank you very much. I in terms of First 11, we're all about making fun experiences in the world of gaming and esports more accessible. And I think looking at some of the stuff you guys have done and how you've built the team, it seems like you have a very similar sort of approach just to make sure you don't lose sight of that fun. So with that said, it'd be great to just give us a bit of a background about Fordzilla. But maybe before we do that, maybe each of you guys can introduce yourselves. So Philip, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, of course. So I'm Philip. I'm part of the UK team. I've joined in April last year. I've got a bit of sim racing experience. I've been racing for 2 years. Been with a number of teams, but like league racing, and then I found Fordzilla. And yeah, it's been fantastic since we've joined. Obviously the COVID's slowed it down a bit with all the things going on, but yeah, I think it's a good team to be with, and I'm hoping in the future we can start progressing further.
So maybe over to Jose.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Jose. I started in Fordzilla October 2019. I started as a market captain of Spain, but I think we made a great job last year, and now I'm running as pro and elite drivers. I'm looking at some new drivers and looking at how to help the actual drivers of the team. I think the first year was a year more to make people know who are far into the esports. Was a most like marketing point of view of the sim racing, and now we are putting all our effort to make the team bigger in terms of results, because last year wasn't the best year as in terms of results in racing and championships. So we are looking forward for the next year, and we have some new entries to make the team grow and help the other drivers to progress.
Absolutely. Maybe Jack, if you wanted to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jack from Team UK. I think I joined around February, March time, 2019. I can't remember now. It's an incredible experience being part of the team. I've done real racing in the past and got into sim racing as a help for my real racing, and then found quite an attachment with sim racing more than actual motorsport itself, which sounds crazy, but I see more of a future in sim racing rather than real racing, whereas real racing seems to have more of a money side of things involved rather than sim racing is more pure talent. So I like the fact that the quicker drivers are known to be at the top rather than in real racing. Sometimes it's not necessarily that. So that's why I like the challenge. I know I'm not necessarily right at the top, but having Ford behind me, having that part of it, is great to have that team back in and always improving, and having people like Pablo is certainly people to look up to and help practice with. So it's a great team to be part of, and like you say, the fun part of it with the team doing all these fun challenges and having a laugh as well, and keeping it enjoyable rather than having it being too serious is a good key point for that good team, really. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good segue into Pablo there in the car.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. I'm Pablo, and I have been sim racing since 12 years ago and joined Fordzilla like 8 months ago. And to be honest, from my experience, it's the best decision I made in my sim racing career, because I didn't realize how big Ford was until I was inside of the structure. I feel it's amazing to have all the European market covered. I am in the Team Spain, but we all communicate and we also make some races together. But we need to just ask for the schedule for everyone, so we can work more broadly internationally, and that helps a lot. And also having Fords behind, as Jack said, is a pleasure, because you don't realize how big Ford is till you are inside. And I did some events with Ford this year that were nuts, and more are planned, but due to the COVID thing, we are a little bit packed in the events, but in the other hand, that helped sim racing to grow more due to the real racing not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like the sim racing world was like the first in terms of that sport crossover to, you know, have that infrastructure in place. But from a lot of the people that, you know, what does it feel like when you get a lot of non-sim racers invading that territory? Is it kind of a different vibe when you have racing and sim racing? Do you find it's like transferable skills? I know, Jack, you mentioned you come from a world of racing, like real racing, into how much of that sort of skill set can you sort of transfer back into sim racing, or the other way around?
I think the real drivers can be really good sim racers, but they need to knowledge that they don't have the G forces, and they need to look at the view with the eyes and just feel a little bit with the force feedback. But it's all 90% in the eyes. You need to just anticipate whatever you are going to do with the car, like in real life, but you don't have the feeling on the butt. So some drivers have problems with that, but actually when they get the trick on the mind, they get really fast afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's as soon as, like Pablo said, as soon as they've understood that factor of not feeling it through their bum and managing to use their eyes and their arms a lot more, as soon as they've clicked that you can understand that and pick it up a lot easier, and you can definitely get to grips with it really quickly. The only other thing that is a little bit sometimes annoying with real racers coming into sim racing is they don't treat it as very, let's say, professional. They kind of treat it as a game, and there's a bit of fun. Sometimes some of these events can be quite competitive and quite serious, whereas they kind of, if they're entering in these events, they can treat it as a bit of a mess around and a bit of fun, and if there's a crash, it doesn't matter, whereas sometimes that isn't what we're here for all the time. So but that's something to learn over time.
Well, I think it seems like a lot of the younger generation are sort of the lines are blurring a little bit, and maybe the newer drivers that you see, the Lando Norrises and the George Russells and the Charles Leclercs and stuff like that seem to really have a passion for the gaming side, right? Yep. So maybe I don't know, maybe the newer drivers, they're training, or in their spare time they're playing more. Do you find that?
Definitely.
I find that absolutely
100%.
So I was going to ask about Ford is the most iconic brand, arguably the most iconic car brand. You know, they invented the first mass production car, and also they've got this incredible legacy for racing. I remember watching, I think it was about a year ago, but the Le Mans 66, which is, I think, Ford versus Ferrari. It was an awesome movie. But that was like, you know, you feel that Ford have this really strong racing legacy. So with that said, I mean, how did that help inform the decision for Ford to really get into competitive gaming, you know, esports? Are they connected? It'd just be great to learn about Ford's decision to sort of get involved with this sort of emerging space.
I think as we always say, it's a natural step for Ford. I think this is an old company because it's so old, but at the same time, it's strong and young. With his point of view is very young, and that's amazing. For me, Fordzilla represents how cool and open-minded it is this brand. So I think that's the key point of Fordzilla, in my opinion, because if you are not open-minded, it's impossible to get your official team into esports.
I was going to say to me, the Le Mans, I saw that you guys, one of the first things you did was enter that endurance Le Mans event. And when someone says to me Ford racing, and not just because of the movie, probably because of the GT40 and all of that, is that one of the key events that you guys are trying to attack, or how do you guys prioritize which events are key to focus your resources on, in the Ford racing calendar?
This year we have not opportunity to race there because we have not invitation to race in the official Le Mans, but at the same time there is not 4GT on the actual starting grid of Le Mans. So
yeah,
but that's something what we are working for, because it's a hard way, because the level there is insane.
yeah.
But I think our participation will be soonest, probably this year, and the victory it's something hard, but at some point will arrive, 100% sure.
You guys have to all dominate and finish 3 at the same time across the finish line.
Yeah, we have to.
I wish you.
And what are the key titles, right? So there's quite a few. You've got Forza, it was probably key, and Gran Turismo. Or what are the right now in the racing scene the key titles that, from a Fordzilla standpoint, you guys are focused on?
Me personally, I'm iRacing. And I know the other guys do iRacing, but I think we do quite a wide range of games. I mean, from across, Forza, Gran Turismo, Race Room.
In my experiences, mainly iRacing, but in some championship or races, I do Assetto Corsa or R Factor 2. Okay.
And then the thing I was going to say is there are so many iconic cars, right? You've got, you just go down the line, whether it's the Shelby Mustang or the GT350 or the Ford Focus RS. Do you guys tend to stick to the Ford cars in the games? And then if so, have you guys got a favorite car you like to drive in the virtual world, that's maybe linked in some way?
Sometimes, depending on how the race will be, because if it's only looking for the performance, every sim racer will look to every car to get the most performance. So we'll choose the car, whatever the brand is, based on the performance. But in some special races or special events, we run the 4GT because we are Ford and we represent the brand.
Yeah.
Even if you had some more degradation of the tires or a little bit of a tense in quali or whatever. Yeah. Depends on the race.
Yeah, I was playing Grid, and I just was trying to unlock the points to get the Mustang. And that was like, finally getting the Mustang. That was cool. But it's not, it's good in a very, very fast in a straight line.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring up the P1, which I saw, which was this sort of incredible looking car. That's the virtual only car. Could you tell us a bit about that? It's just purely designed from kind of community.
Yeah, I think this is completely crazy. One manufacturer making a car from zero with the opinion of the big mass. Honestly, I never saw that in my life. So taking part of this project, it's a privilege, and the real size will reveal soon. And it's a very big step for us, I think, also for the sim racing, and why not for the motorsport. But I think it's something unique.
Absolutely. And I think it's something that will feature in games, or is it just from a rendering standpoint? Is there an ambition to be able to introduce that into a game to be able to drive it?
Yes, that's something what will happen, but I can't give more info about that.
Okay. All right. We'll keep our eyes peeled for that. One of the things we focus on at First 11 is challenges. So hopefully we'll be able to co-create some cool challenges together. But with that in mind, I saw you guys are doing some crazy stuff on your socials where people have to drive around Silverstone backwards, or, there's fun things. If you guys had to, and you don't have to answer it now, but are there specific challenges that you, I would say if you had a favorite track or something that you had to set a challenge in, would you guys have a default track or car or something for each of you that you would call out as like, hey, see if you can beat this?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, Pablo. What is
Go
it?
on.
What is
is
it, Pablo? Go on, hear it. Let's hear it.
I mean, you mean that saying, okay, try to beat my time?
It could be beat your time, or it could be more than that. It could be, you can give someone
This
a
is
10-minute.
my iconic combination of track and car, and I will beat you all, and you will not.
Yeah, which one would you crush at if you could pick any car and any track? There you go.
Okay, I will say this last week's of iRacing Ferrari GT3 challenge in Road Atlanta. I don't think anybody can beat my time.
That's a bold statement. So that's good.
I remember everyone.
In the conditions of virtual racing school
So
conditions.
if someone beats Pablo's time, Pablo will pay a pizza.
Yeah, I bet Alex Palou and Julian Rodriguez a pizza for that.
That's cool.
But they didn't got it.
Everything's got really advanced, it's like you've got incredible setups, whether the steering wheel, whether it's the seat. But what was the first game that made you want to get into racing in the first place? Because obviously everyone was playing video games for fun, right? But was there a specific game? It could be Mario Kart or like Ayrton Senna's Monaco GP or whatever on the Mega Drive. Like, do each of you guys have? Sorry,
I actually started in the Monaco GP too.
Did you?
To be honest, yeah. My older brother had a Mega Drive, and I drove with the gamepad. But the actual game that made me switch for a wheel, it's the Life for Speed game, LFS.
Yeah.
I didn't actually transition to sim racing and get a rig myself until doing R Factor 2 at a simulator venue nearby me. They had a venue full of sim rigs, 15 of them, all linked up, and we used to do like esports events, and that was on R Factor 2. I entered a few of that, got quite good at it, really enjoyed it, and I was like, I've got to get one at home, and that's how it all started, really. So
yeah, I had a bit of my first experience of a racing game, I think I would say, was Grand Prix 2. I don't know if you heard of that. It was back in the 90s.
Yeah.
My dad had it at his office, and playing on the keyboard, to press an A to, for the throttle and the arrows to turn. But yeah, my first, obviously I did a bit of real racing, did some go-karting, and I went to do a bit of Ginetta Juniors until my dad ran out of money, and then we had to stop. But yeah, I would say my first simulation experience was probably Project Cars 2. That's when I first got my wheel. But yeah, it's a bit random. My mother-in-law actually bought me the game for Christmas, and I did a few online lobbies and cracked one of those. And then some person said, "Oh, I fancy joining the league." Joined the league, and then it kind of went from there. Really, it was a bit, just kind of grown and grown. I enjoy it. It's my hobby now. So it's just crazy how it's blown up into this big thing now.
From my side, I started in the arcade machines in the bars with the rally game of Carlos Sainz, where you drove a Toyota Celica, moving the car like this.
Diagonally.
Yes, and that was in the street. And after that, I got a Super NES, Super Nintendo, and I started to play with your awesome Nigel Mansell driver.
Oh, it's classic.
Yeah, that game, because it was in the cockpit view and was incredible, amazing. And from that, my first game with wheel was the Gran Turismo 5 Prologue, and there everything started.
Wow. Yeah, it's very cool. Racing has always been very present throughout the whole of video game history, which is cool to see. I mean, for me, I loved Sega Rally on the Dreamcast. That was a classic. That was a good game. But I would love to have a pro rig. I'm very jealous of seeing all your amazing rigs in the background, but I would
this
probably
is
suck.
really realistic.
You're in the best rig of all of them. That's it. It has to be a Ford, though. That's
that's real force feedback.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess for us, we're really keen to and excited to collaborate with you guys, to have the chance. I know we've got some different one-to-ones lined up with different members of the team, and between myself and Tom, who's not here today, but Tom's an ex-racing driver as well, we're basically love to host challenges and really showcase some of the great work you guys are doing, and see if people can get close. So I'm really excited to do that.
Up for it, man.
Absolutely. In terms of anything that's coming up for the Fordzilla team, is there anything that might be worth shouting about?
Yeah, the VCO, in my parts, there is a lot of things happening, to be honest, and they will happen more, as Jose always tease us. But in my part, I am at the moment in the VCO Pro Sim Series, which is half pro real drivers, half pro sim racers, all together sharing a F3 car with a random track within 2 hours of the race.
Wow. So so it's just straight in, and then that's quite cool.
2 hours of practice and go. All fixed setups, only the piece between the wheel and the seats is the valid point there.
That's quite cool. So I like that. Very cool. But thank you very much, Philip, for putting this together. It's super cool, and I'd love to look forward to the next interview. And it's making me want to fire up my PlayStation and play some video games right now. play some racing games. Take care, guys. All the best. Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Cheers.
So.